It's a story that chills you to the bone. A 13-year-old girl vanishes. Just gone.
Vanishes.
Vanishes in broad daylight.
Oh, wow.
While on her paper route, something she did all the time. Sharon Pritorius. And 50 years later,
Yeah.
the mystery is still unsolved. You've brought us a whole stack of articles.
Yeah.
And interviews,
Yeah.
police reports, all on this case.
I have, yeah. It's a fascinating one. It really is.
Let's dive into the puzzling disappearance of Sharon Pritorius, see what we can uncover together.
Yeah. Okay, great. What's really fascinating to me is how, a seemingly ordinary day back in 1973 in Dayton, Ohio, can just take such a dark turn.
Right, yeah. And, in your notes, you highlighted how Sharon was a very responsible teenager.
She was, yeah.
Helping her widowed mother.
Yeah.
And, busy with her own paper route.
Yeah.
And, of course, that becomes central to the story.
It does, that's right. September 28th, 1973. Sharon sets off to collect payments from her customers. An errand she did every week.
Every week. So routine.
Exactly. She tells her brother where she's going, leaves home around 5:30 p.m., expected back for dinner around 6. But she never returns.
Just never comes home. It's almost unthinkable.
Yeah.
For the family.
Yeah, it's awful. Just awful.
I mean, to just immediately sense that something is so terribly wrong.
The family knew Sharon's behavior. This was completely out of character for her brother, Richard, and their mother, Mary Carroll. They become incredibly worried. They even start walking her paper route, hoping to find her, or talk to someone who might have seen her. Mary Carroll then contacts the Dayton police, and that's when the investigation begins.
Okay, so the police, they start with the basics.
Yeah.
Searching the Pritorius home.
Yeah.
Interviewing family, friends, and then a classmate of Sharon's, let's call her Terry,
Okay.
steps forward,
Okay.
claiming she saw Sharon around the time that she disappeared.
Oh, really?
This is where things start to get interesting.
Interesting. Okay. How so?
Well, Carrie initially tells police she saw Sharon struggling with a man who was trying to force her into a car.
Force her into a car.
Yeah. Around 5:30 p.m. at this intersection of Cornell and Philadelphia drives.
A potential eyewitness. That's big.
Yeah.
But something doesn't quite add up here.
No. You're right to be skeptical.
Okay, what is it?
This intersection. It's east of Sharon's home, but her paper route took her west. It wouldn't make sense for her to be in that area.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
And there's another layer to this, too. During a follow-up interview, Carrie admits she didn't actually see Sharon herself. It was her aunt, we can call her Jennifer,
Jennifer.
who actually witnessed the incident. So it's a second-hand account.
Secondhand, okay.
The police track down Jennifer, and she confirms seeing the incident.
Hmm?
She describes a girl who looked like Sharon being forced into a blue 1965 Ford sedan by a man. And Jennifer, she even gives a pretty detailed description of the man. Around 6 feet tall, medium build, maybe in his 30s or 40s, with a medium complexion, full beard, wearing a brown waist-length jacket, white t-shirt, Levi jeans, and a brown, slim-brimmed hat. She even notes that he looked dirty, whatever that might mean.
That's pretty specific, you know? It makes you wonder, why didn't she report this right away?
It's a great question.
Oh.
Jennifer explains. She initially thought it was just a father disciplining his daughter.
Ah, I see.
And it wasn't until she heard about Sharon's disappearance that the potential significance of what she saw,
dawned on her.
Yeah, it just goes to show how easily we can misinterpret situations.
Right.
Especially where you're not actively looking for something that's amiss.
Exactly. So the police, they showed Jennifer a picture of the Pritorius family, and she confidently identifies Sharon.
Oh, wow.
But even with a seemingly strong lead, there are doubts.
There are. What kind of doubt? Well, Jennifer's friend who was in the car with her that day claims to have no memory of the incident. Jennifer says he was intoxicated.
Ah, okay.
So it's possible that
Yeah.
he doesn't remember or wasn't paying attention. But it still casts a little bit of a shadow over the account.
It does. It makes you wonder.
One step forward, 2 steps back. And then, around this time, the Dayton Police Department, they get a ransom call from someone claiming to have Sharon.
Oh, wow.
He demands $1,000 for her return.
A ransom call. Okay.
But this part of the story, you flagged it as particularly strange. So what's going on here?
Well, what's odd is how inconsistent this call is, The caller. He increases the ransom demand to $100,000 and then refuses to provide a specific location for the exchange.
So red flags, right?
Yeah. He also starts using threatening language.
Did the police believe that it was legitimate?
Well, they weren't sure at first, but ultimately, They couldn't trace the call or contact the caller again. And with a lack of concrete information, and just his behavior in general, the police concluded that it was probably a prank.
A prank. Wow. Okay. So that lead fizzles out.
Mm.
And then another unsettling development pops up. Just 4 days after Sharon's disappearance. A 13-year-old boy, Philip. He reports a chilling encounter.
Okay. This is where it gets even darker.
Yeah. So Philip claims that a man in a blue car tried to force him into the vehicle while he was walking to school.
Another potential abduction attempt? That's terrifying, and I'm guessing it doesn't end there.
You're right. The very next day, the same man shows up at Philip's house and tries to attack him with a butcher knife.
Oh my God. So this guy's getting bolder. Did they catch him?
Well, despite Philip reporting both incidents and even giving a partial license plate number, the lid goes cold. Investigators stake out his house, but the man never returns. And it just leaves them wondering, is this connected to Sharon's disappearance? Or is this man just out there waiting to strike again?
It's like something out of a horror movie. So many potential connections, but nothing concrete. It's just awful. As the years pass, the case runs cold, leaving Sharon's family in a state of agonizing uncertainty, you know? It's something we see a lot in these long-term missing person cases.
It is. It is. And it's just heartbreaking to imagine what they went through, that constant wondering, you know, the fading hope. But in your research, you've marked 1976 as a pivotal year, a time when this glimmer of hope kind of emerges.
Yeah. 1976, a man contacts the police with a tip saying that he heard that the body of a 13-year-old girl was buried at a house that had been demolished.
A demolished house.
Yeah. And while he doesn't specifically say Sharon, the details, they line up with her case.
Wow. Okay. So this must have felt like a potential breakthrough after 3 years of just nothing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The police, they got a search warrant, and they launched a full-scale excavation of the property.
A full-scale excavation?
Yeah, they even had to break through a concrete slab and dig 6 feet underground.
Wow. A massive undertaking. Yeah. All based on a single tip. So what did they find?
Nothing. The search comes up empty.
Oh.
Another layer of disappointment to an already tragic situation.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, isn't it?
It is.
Hope followed by, crushing disappointment. But this isn't the only tip that focuses on a specific location.
Right. No, you're right. Years later, 2011, a woman contacts the police. She says she remembers a conversation she had back in 2006 with another woman who told her that Sharon was buried on the property of an old service station. And get this service station was located just a few houses away from the property they searched in 76.
Wow. 2 separate tips pointing to the same general area. That's quite a coincidence.
It is. The police, they're intrigued, especially since the service station had also been demolished.
Demolished, okay.
They get permission to search the lot using ground-penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, hoping to find something, some trace of Sharon.
So did this second search, did it turn up any results?
No, they come up empty-handed again.
It seems like every promising lead just turns into a dead end.
It does, and that's not even the weirdest part.
Okay, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Around the same time, investigators decide to go back to the original informant from the 1976 tip, you know.
A man who led them to that first house?
Right. They want to see if he can offer any new insights. What they uncover is, well, it's bizarre and really frustrating.
Okay. Now I have to know, what is it? What do they learn?
He tells them that. The woman who had given him the information about the buried body, she told him from the very beginning that it was all based on a dream.
A dream.
A dream. So both of these searches, all that effort, stemmed from a dream.
It seems almost unbelievable.
It does. Naturally, the police, they're skeptical. They're thinking, is this guy making this up now to cover himself? So they track down the original woman, the one who supposedly had the dream.
And
she confirms it. It was indeed a dream. And she'd always maintained that, even when she told the tipster back in the 70s.
So it's just a bizarre twist, to say the least.
It is.
What did the police make of this?
Well, they concluded that this whole ordeal stemmed from a dream that was misconstrued, amplified, potentially because of hopes of reward money. Who knows? But it's a cautionary tale, I think, you know.
About
the spread of misinformation, especially in these high-stakes situations.
Yeah, it really is. It's just hard to believe. But it does highlight how even well-intentioned people can inadvertently hinder an investigation.
They can. And, you know, you made a good point earlier about how investigative techniques have evolved since the 70s. Things are so different now back then. Investigators didn't have the same tools that we have today. Think about DNA analysis. Now a tiny trace of evidence can lead to a breakthrough. Back then, it wasn't even possible.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to think about how much has changed. But despite these setbacks, there's been a renewed push for answers in more recent years.
You're right. Sharon's mother, Mary Carroll, she's sadly passed away in 2021, but her determination to find her daughter, it inspired others to keep searching, and the Dayton police. They decided to revisit the case last year, assigning retired Detective Rodri to their cold case unit.
A fresh set of eyes on the decades-old mystery. So, what has Detective Rodri been focusing on?
Well, one of his main strategies has been to search for similar cases from the same time period, the same area. He believes that if the perpetrator wasn't someone Sharon knew, then there's a good chance this was the work of a serial offender.
It's a chilling thought, but it makes sense to explore that possibility. So has he found any connections to other cases?
Well, one case that really caught his attention is the unsolved murder of 13-year-old Linda Durr.
Linda Durr.
It happened just outside of Dayton in 1973. Now, while the circumstances of her death are different, she was found murdered in her own home. Detective Rodri noticed some similarities in their appearances, particularly their long hair, and how they tended to wear it in ponytails.
It's amazing how even seemingly small details, like hairstyle, can be a potential link.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So is he working with the investigators on Linda's case?
Yeah, he's been collaborating with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, comparing notes, looking for overlaps, any shared evidence. He's also reviewing solved cases from that era, hoping to find a suspect whose MO aligns with Sharon's abduction.
Leaving no stone unturned. So, does Detective Rodri, does he have his own theory about what happened to Sharon?
He does. While he was reviewing the case files, he became really interested in the sighting from Jennifer, the aunt of Sharon's classmate, the one who reported seeing a girl who looked like Sharon struggling with a man at that intersection, remember?
Right. The sighting that didn't quite match up with Sharon's route.
Exactly. Despite the location discrepancy, Detective Rodri thinks there could be an explanation, you see?
Yeah.
He suggests that Sharon might have been abducted near her home and was trying to escape from the car at that intersection because it was busier than the residential streets on her route.
Yeah, makes sense. Maybe she saw an opportunity to break free and, took it.
Exactly. It's also worth pointing out that Sharon's brothers, David and Richard, they've spent years graveling with their own theories about what happened.
You mentioned this earlier. It'd be interesting to hear their perspective.
Yeah, well, David has always been struck by the fact that Sharon never even made it to the first house on her paper route. He thinks it's unlikely that a complete stranger could have taken her in such a short time frame, given the level of planning and control required. He suspects Sharon might have been stalked by someone who knew her routine and was just waiting for her that evening.
Premeditation, not a crime of opportunity. That's chilling. What about Richard? What does he think?
Richard's theory. It shares some similarities with David's. He believes that Sharon's abduction was probably carried out by more than one person, maybe 2 or 3 people. He finds it hard to believe that one person alone could have overpowered Sharon.
Right. I mean, it would certainly take more than one person to overpower someone and control the situation, especially in broad daylight.
Right. And Richard believes that Sharon might have been held captive for a few days, possibly as part of, a gang initiation or some other horrific ritual. He also believes that. There are people in the Dayton area who might have information, maybe directly or indirectly involved.
It's a deeply unsettling thought, but one that can't be ignored. So we have a dedicated detective. We have theories from family members, potential links to other cases.
Yeah.
Where does the investigation stand now?
Detective Rodri is pursuing every angle. He's urging anyone with even the tiniest piece of information to come forward. He's really interested in hearing from, other law enforcement officers who might have worked on similar cases around that time. He believes that someone, somewhere, might have that missing piece of the puzzle that could finally bring Sharon home.
It's a long shot.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
One single detail.
One single detail.
Can unlock the truth.
That's right. And we can't forget, how important it is to keep Sharon's story alive. The more people who know about her disappearance, the greater the chance that someone with information will step forward.
It's incredible to think that after 50 years, people are still actively working on this case.
It
really speaks to the dedication of law enforcement and,
of course,
the unwavering hope of Sharon's family.
It does. And what's really I don't know, poignant about this case is how it resonates with so many other people. You know, that idea of a young girl just vanishing without a trace, it really cuts to the core of a lot of our fears and anxieties, I think.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
It shatters that sense of security we all kind of crave.
Right.
We do, that belief that our neighborhoods are safe, our kids are protected.
Right.
And Sharon's story, it's a stark reminder that these things can happen anywhere.
Anywhere.
Even in seemingly quiet, ordinary places.
Yeah, yeah.
And it underscores that need for vigilance,
Yeah.
you know, paying attention to our surroundings.
Yeah.
Speaking up when something feels wrong.
Exactly. That see something, say something mentality. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That's so crucial.
Even if we think
Yeah.
that the detail is just
insignificant.
Insignificant.
It could be the thing.
Yeah.
You know, that breaks the case wide open.
It could be the missing piece of the puzzle for someone else.
Exactly. And it's never too late, you know? To come forward with information, memories can be triggered by news stories, conversations, seemingly unrelated events. I mean, who knows? Someone listening right now, something might come back to them.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the initial investigation to the twists and turns, the renewed hope, and the enduring strength of Sharon's family. Is there anything else? A call to action for our listeners. What can they do if they think that they might have information about Sharon's case?
If anyone has any information, anything at all, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem, please contact the Dayton Police Department Cold Case Unit. The number is 937-333-7109. Even the smallest detail could make a world of difference.
Yeah. It's amazing how, even after all this time, there's still hope for answers, for justice. It still burns bright, you know.
It does.
What do you think drives this continued search after so many years?
I think it's a testament to the human spirit, you know, and our refusal to give up hope. It's that belief that even in the darkest of times, there's always a chance, however slim, that the truth can be uncovered, justice can be served.
Sharon's case, though filled with tragedy and unanswered questions, it also shines a light on the dedication of those who seek answers, who refuse to let her memory fade.
It's a powerful reminder that, while some cases may grow cold, the search for truth never truly ends.
Well, this has been an incredibly thought-provoking deep dive into a truly haunting case. Thank you for guiding us through the intricacies of Sharon's disappearance.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, if you're fascinated by stories like Sharon's, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive on your favorite podcast platform. We'll be back soon with more deep dives into compelling stories and unsolved mysteries.